Good morning. My name is Jose Fernandez, and I'm the Assistant Secretary for Economic and Business Affairs at the U.S. Department of State. I lead the bureau that's responsible for overseeing U.S. international trade and investment policy, international finance, development, debt policy, economic sanctions, and support for U.S. businesses and the private sector overseas. I'm joined today by Jonathan Silverthorne, the Assistant Director of the Young Atlanticist Program, a network launched at the 2008 NATO Summit in Bucharest that brings emerging leaders together who believe in establishing closer Euro-Atlantic cooperation. And Adeo Ressi. Mr. Ressi runs the Founder Institute, which with chapters in 37 cities worldwide, 3 of them founded in the last 2 weeks, helps anyone with an entrepreneurial dream launch a technology company. What, in your view, is unique about the North African region pertaining to young business leaders that makes it important for the U.S. to engage in exchanges? What makes this region important to the global economy and for youth entrepreneurship?
I think when you look at the Middle East and North Africa, you have a young population that's growing quickly, and they have a lot of great ideas for companies and for businesses. So I see it as an opportunity for me to bring the Founder Institute into the region and help launch over 150 new technology companies in that region alone in 2013. So presently we're operating in Egypt, Istanbul, and Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And we're looking to expand into the UAE and Oman by Q1 2013. So we want to have a big footprint in the region due to the growing population and the many ideas that the new entrepreneurs have in the area. So we're excited.
And just to add to that, we're very pleased this month to have launched, with the State Department support, www.PNB-NAPEO.org, which is a website geared to promote entrepreneurship in North Africa and specifically in the Maghreb. And we've traveled out there a number of times and met with a lot of investors, American investors who've been there as well. And the reason we decided to get involved initially about 2 years ago now was we were really surprised and very impressed with the level of innovation, the passion, the energy we saw in entrepreneurs, and especially young entrepreneurs in the region. And we've talked to a number of American investors, several of whom have gone out on State Department programs to meet with entrepreneurs in the region. And they've said, when they went out there, they had pretty low expectations. You don't think, in America we haven't heard a lot about the Maghreb as a place for entrepreneurship, but there is a lot of innovation there. Mm-hmm. And I think you're going to see closer ties moving forward, in large part thanks to a lot of the efforts that the State Department's made.
What is the United States, in your view, doing to help women start their own businesses? And going forward, what else do you think we could be doing in order to pursue that goal?
If you don't help empower women to create startups, you're losing 50% of your potential for innovation, if not more. Yeah. So it's an incredibly important initiative, and we've worked really hard with the website and other projects we're doing to raise the profile of female entrepreneurship. We've built a number of tools on the website, an investment platform, a mentorship database for partners internally. But I think one of the most important things we're doing with the website, especially in a region like the Maghreb, where there is a certain aversion to risk, and there is, a lot of the entrepreneurs I've talked to have said their family, their friends, their colleagues all thought they were crazy to launch a startup. Why would you do that? Why not go work in the government or go work for a big corporation where you have safety and security? So we've really tried to raise the profile of entrepreneurship across the board by showing success stories, and we've really gone out of our way in particular to do that with women, where I think there is a lot of potential in the region. We've met a lot of very smart women who are doing incredible work. There's a woman in Tunisia who actually won a prize through the State Department to go to Tech Town in Detroit a few months ago. Sued Reis in Tunisia, who's just really incredible, and she's developed some innovative ways to do cancer testing, and it came about because she had a cousin, I think, who had cancer, and really, seeing entrepreneurship as a way to help her community. But there are a lot of great resources out there for female entrepreneurs in the region, people doing really good work on the ground, mentoring networks that cater specifically towards female CEOs and startups, and a lot of really wonderful resources. And I'd really encourage entrepreneurs anywhere in the world, and I know specifically in the Maghreb, to reach out to some of those folks and get connected, because they're fantastic resources.
Okay. What are some of the resources that a new company can look to get, where they can look to get even 3 months worth of capital for their startup? How do you tell us how you go about putting
raising that
entrepreneurs,
first
which is always the hardest first step. I mean, what you have done with the website in North Africa, I think, is one way of connecting investors and entrepreneurs.
Exactly. Yeah. No, and I think we talked, as we were developing the site, we talked to a lot of entrepreneurs, investors, business experts in the Maghreb. And we heard three main frustrations. One was limited access to information, and specifically information that's relevant to the Maghreb. Two was sort of the broader cultural challenge of a certain aversion to risk and a limited understanding of the potential entrepreneurship has. But the third is definitely access to finance. I mean, it's very limited. And it depends. I mean, it's a part of the world where connections are important. So if you know someone who runs a bank, that's great. That's very helpful. But if you don't, it can certainly be challenging. And so we really wanted to help address that with the website. And as part of that, we've built a platform on the site where entrepreneurs can create profiles of their startup or their business with the goal of attracting investment. And we've seen a lot of interest from angel investors in the United States who have been connected with the partnership, and from the diaspora community in America, and using the site to look for potential investment opportunities. So if anyone's in the Maghreb, I would really encourage them to go to the website and check that out and apply. But I think there are also similar resources around the world, and definitely look for those, and I think that's a great place to start. In the future, what we'd really like to do is use crowdfunding to help them raise money to do more events and to continue their work. So this is something we're hoping to launch next year, and it's kind of a country-by-country basis. Crowdfunding is not simple, and especially when it's crossing borders, there are a lot of challenges. But we're working with the partners, especially in Tunisia, Algeria, and Morocco, and then also in Libya and Mauritania, to help them build the capacity to accept donations. And we've got that built into the site, and we're just sort of waiting for the legal and banking issues to kind of get resolved. But we're very excited about that prospect.
Sure. If you're going out for the first round to get the first few months of your business finance, let me give you sort of the conventional wisdom very quickly. So the first 3 to 5 months you can probably pull from what's called a friends and family pool. So maybe you were working professional or a lawyer, a doctor, whatever your profession is or was. You can go to your friends from your job, to your relatives, to family, and pull in a chunk of money to cover that first period of time where you set off on your own. That's pretty normal. Once you go beyond that, you're going to go into more professional investors, usually angels, and that's like a sales process. You're going to need to be full-time. It's going to take anywhere from 3 to 9 months, and you're going to have to really pound the pavement. I recommend that you plan to pitch at least 100 people, and you're like, well, how do I meet these 100 people? Well, if your business is good, which is sort of the precursor to trying to go out and even raise money from professionals, then it's a little bit easier because you'll meet someone, tell them about the business. They may say, oh, it's not right for me, but let me introduce you to my friend here, and he may be interested in investing, or she may be interested in investing. So it's a pounding the pavement, sales process that you can expect to spend a lot of time on, and it will be hard for sure.
And one of the things that we've tried to do is to work with U.S. business schools and business schools in the Maghreb to talk about putting together business plans, putting together pitches, putting together investor books. That's a talent, and that's something that I'd like you to talk a little bit about. What each of you have been doing on that front, on the entrepreneurship education front, because there is an educational component here. Because again, people aren't necessarily born as entrepreneurs.
And so we've made education a key part of the site. We've filmed interviews with roughly 100 entrepreneurs across the region, as well as with investors and business experts in the region, to create, Steve Jobs and Bill Gates are phenomenal examples, and people should read those bios and learn from those examples. But we really also wanted to find people in the Maghreb who were doing this, and have them talking in French and Arabic about their experiences working in Tunisia, Morocco, Algeria, to show people, simply, number one, it's possible. There are people who are doing great things in your region, and this is something you should consider. And then number two, we've talked about failure and how failure can be an educational process. Well, ideally you'd learn from someone else's failure rather than making those same mistakes yourself. And I think each startup is different, but I think we've built a great set of resources of people in the Maghreb talking about their experiences, what they've learned, what advice they have for entrepreneurs based on those experiences, how they succeeded, how they failed, and what that means. And I think that's a really important resource. And so that's in the resource library on our website. And in addition, we've got links to hundreds of articles from across the web about entrepreneurship that we think are valuable. So I think the education piece is critical. Number one, simply educating people about entrepreneurship broadly and saying, hey, this is a career that you should consider if you haven't. Or if you have considered it, here's what it's like. Here are what the challenge is this right for you? And then number three, if you already have a business or as you're launching your business, here are some stories from people who've been there before, and here's what they've learned.
You're exactly right. It's not just lessons of failure, right? You need to see lessons of success. If you don't know anyone who's built a successful technology or other business in the area, then how do you know what it's? You don't have a role model. Right? So that your videos are fantastic because it's showing success stories that you can model yourself after, which is great.
Where should I direct the majority of my time to make my entrepreneurial venture successful? And do you have any advice for young people considering becoming an entrepreneur?
My recommendation on time is very simple. You can't spend enough time researching what you're about to do.
There are a lot of resources out there, and my first advice would be to go take advantage of those. I mean, go meet with any entrepreneurs you know. Go if there's an American Chamber of Commerce, if the U.S. Embassy in the country is doing work on entrepreneurship or hosting events, or if you can go to Dubai or other conferences. Really take advantage of some of those networking opportunities and that potential to meet people and learn about entrepreneurship, to meet investors and learn about investment. We're very excited to have launched this month PNB-NAPEO.org. We're really proud of it. We think it's a great resource. We built it really directly in response to our conversations with entrepreneurs on the ground, what challenges, what frustrations they're facing with access to finance, with limited access to information, and sort of operating in an environment that doesn't have a fully evolved ecosystem for entrepreneurship. And so we provide a lot of information on PNB-NAPEO, on upcoming events, but we also really try to address some of those challenges with an investor platform to promote your business with angel investors and the diasporas in America, with an internal tool to help partners on the ground find mentors for entrepreneurs, with the resource library and the interviews we've done, and with really highlighting success stories from across the region to show that there are people in the region doing really innovative stuff. I think, the bottom line is that I've just been really impressed every time I've gone out to North Africa and other parts of the world with the passion, the energy, and some really incredible innovation. I mean, there's groundbreaking work that's going on in North Africa, which I didn't fully expect when I went there. I mean, there's some people doing stuff that's never been done anywhere else, as well as plenty of people applying techniques that have been used elsewhere to a local setting. So I think there's a lot of market potential with the Maghreb, and I would really encourage anyone who's in the region or really anywhere in the world to go to the website, check it out, and learn a little bit about the work that people are doing there. It's really fascinating.